Welcome, Working Country. Quick update on the burned 1983 Oldsmobile 98 diesel. After severely overheating due to a head gasket failure in 2022, it was parked in the driveway behind my house, about 5 foot from the house. Then in the spring of this year, 2023, the house burned down and tried to eat the car. So, pardon the crappy camera work, but now the car's a bit burned, covered in tar, if you haven't seen my other videos. Vinyl roof is pretty well hosed. Opera light is melted. There's a roofing nail from when the house fell on the car. But through all that, after servicing it, replacing head gaskets, and doing some other maintenance, I've driven it 700 miles just on the Garmin Navi. Probably another 100 or 200 miles without it. I do use that often for a speedometer and for accurate measurement of my fuel mileage, because this speedometer has always been off maybe like 10%, something like that. When my truck was down due to being out of inspection, I was able to go do some jobs, loading my tools in the gigantic trunk through this canoe rack up on the top. My dad bought this when I was a teenager so we could haul our canoe around on his little K car he had at the time. At the moment, I have parts to fix the header panel, nose cone, whatever you want to call it, as well as to replace all of the connectors for the lights right there and right here. Got my nose cone. The keen observer will notice that this is an 83, but it does have a 1980 nose. Obviously, that's a junkyard part. Since owning the car, I've wanted to repaint it. Preferably blue, the light blue that Oldsmobile used, but even factory color would be great because it has 1, 2, 3, 4 shades of gray on it. Oh, wait, 5, counting the trunk lid. The trunk is all crazed. Now I have a slight dilemma because the fire is part of the car's history, so it'd be cool to preserve the fender and hood and the bumper while replacing the filler panel, nose cone, and then repainting the rest of it, which would mean I'd have to leave it gray. Also, I'll have to redo the roof. Frankly, I don't like vinyl tops, so I'll probably just delete it and leave it off, because I don't like how these hold moisture. And in New York, it rains a lot. Even if I do a restoration on it, which is fairly doubtful, I don't want to replace or fix that. That pitting and wear is from hundreds of thousands of miles, literally, of North Dakota roads that are all gravel, mostly. I think the reason for the gray is because it matches the dust of North Dakota. Anywho, the interior needs some love. I'm not gonna replace these plastic pieces, so I'll probably just sand down all this fake wood and paint it a color. Maybe paint this black and see if I can match that. I don't know. Need to fix this. Because this is a daily driver and not a show car, I'm going to remove this because my elbow goes right there. And then I will recover this with either new vinyl or probably more likely some sort of soft fabric like that. After all, my center armrest is nice soft. Anywho, the steering wheel is cracked all to crap. I'd like to get an actual good leather steering wheel cover that doesn't slide around. This used to be wood grain. It's not anymore. I would like to add gauges here. And yeah. Replace the ashtray with a single DIN CD player with an aux in. Maybe Bluetooth. I don't really care about that though. As long as it's got a CD player and aux, we're good. This tape player works great, so I would leave this hooked up to the speakers. Of course, the neighbors around the corner let their dogs bark. Great. Anywho, little box, got an owner's manual, got Custom Harvesters Inc. out of Texas. Got a garden thing from Palmer, Minnesota. University of North Dakota Teacher Education, Grand Forks, North Dakota. Education.und.edu. Interesting. A pre-1990, yeah, in the early 90s, like 94, 5, 6, somewhere in there, it turned into AC Delco. So these are old and probably actually way better than the current production ones, which are trash. The fellow was a veteran, American Legion, Post 6, Grand Forks, North Dakota. Get well soon. I remember these safety checkpoint pens. Different companies would have them. This is from Case IH. Top screws on. Well, just trust me on that one. And it would have had a lanyard. That's from the 90s. I used to have a cool Cenex service station leather nail clippers keychain. Not really familiar with them. Cool old 90s. I don't drink, but I'm leaving this in here. 1987. When I was a kid, these kinds of keychains were on everything. Old thing, socket. Oh, these are for the. These go with this lug tool for the hubcaps. Lube oil filter records that I put in here. This was in the windshield. 12/28/2004, 73,000 miles. The car only had like 74 or 5,000 miles indicated when I bought it. So, someone enjoyed this thing, put a crud load of miles on it from 83 to 04. The story is the farmer that owned it got very ill and quit driving it. And he had a few of these Olds diesels, but this was the nicest one. And it was his going to town rig. He would use the trunk for hauling tractor parts and stuff like that. In the Grand Forks area, it's right on the Minnesota, North Dakota line, which if I edit this, I'll put right here. Um, and there's a big river running through there. Um, the North Dakota side has a bunch of stuff, but if you want to go to a big city, you got to go to Fargo, which is down an 80-mile-an-hour highway, a ways, maybe 60 miles. It's been a while. It's been a few years. And then, if you're going to another town, it might be Devil's Lake. That's another pretty good drive. So each community out there is so far away. It really makes sense why, especially in a time when the speed limit was 55 miles an hour, he had this car. It's a great car. Um, I wish I could have met the individual that had owned it. I purchased this from a diesel mechanic that went through, cleaned it up, and put it on the road. Decided not to keep it, and I bought it. Drove it all the way from Grand Forks, North Dakota area, and back home to, at the time, I lived in central New York. Well, God bless. Take her easy. Hope I didn't ramble too much.